Instagram. I know you did. I know you did. And I'm gonna just say that. I know you did. Because Pharrell definitely wrote all that shit. That's why people used to go to him when they wanted a hit. Damn, Khalees, don't be doing that, girl. I love Khalees. And I love Khalees. Go dumb at the sideshow. What is you smoking? Go dumb at the sideshow. What is you smoking? Damn, Khalees out there. He's out here tripping. Backpack boys out here putting in the weed, man. Let's see what the fuck they out here putting in that motherfucking weed, mate. What the fuck? Yes, hold on. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? That smoking pesticides.
If you think all the testing in the legal industry means that you're safe from dangerous chemicals and pesticides, think again. A new investigation has exposed that insane levels of pesticides are in all kinds of legal products from huge brands like Backpack Boys, Steezy, and many more. This is a huge problem for the entire legal industry, and these same pesticides and chemicals might be in everything you are buying right now. So in this video, I'll show you how this new investigation has uncovered some scary secrets. We will learn who these huge brands were that were selling super poisonous products, and I'll show you why these companies are trying to deny that this is even happening.
This video does not violate any YouTube community guidelines and is intended to educate the public about the historical, scientific, and social aspects of plants. This video does not encourage, glorify, or promote any illegal activities or unsafe consumption of regulated substances. This video is compliant with all YouTube policies and does not depict or promote any sales or distribution of any substance, so please, chill out.
So I've spent the last 7 years working in the legal industry in Colorado, and in all these years in the garden, I've learned a lot of dirty little secrets about how these plants are actually tested before customers like us can buy them. And the truth about how all of this testing really works is sort of crazy and not what I expected at all. So I'm going to explain why this testing doesn't always keep you safe. And we're going to cover a huge industry loophole that no one else is talking about. And I'll show you why the products you trust the most could actually be super dangerous. This is making big waves right now because of a recent series of crazy articles published by the LA Times that revealed some shocking results from an investigation into California's legal cannabis industry. But this problem is not just in California. This is happening all over the place. The first two articles showed the results of a joint investigation done by WeedWeek.com and the LA Times, where they tested a wide range of legal products, including vapes and regular flower, to see if all the regulations in the cannabis industry really meant that the products we buy are safe. And the results were very bad. Out of the 42 products tested, 25 had concentrations of pesticides that were above state allowed levels or current federal standards for tobacco. So 59.5% of the stuff they tested was either above the state allowed levels for cannabis, or they just had pesticides that aren't even allowed to be used in cannabis at all, so they don't even test for them. But they are still considered too many pesticides for tobacco, according to federal rules. And tobacco causes cancer, and this is still too many pesticides for cancer-causing tobacco. Many of these chemicals were only present in low levels and might not affect you unless you were exposed a lot, but 5 very popular brands had levels of pesticides that were so high that they were above federal risk thresholds for harm for a single exposure, according to level levels set by the EPA. This means they could be dangerous to you just from using them one time. We're gonna cover what brands were the worst in just a second, but some of this stuff was so contaminated that just getting it one time could have really serious consequences. And I mean really serious. These chemicals could result in irritation to your lungs, your throat, your eyes. They could give you rashes, cause headaches, diarrhea, cramps. But even more seriously, these things are chemicals tied to cancer, liver failure, thyroid disease, and genetic and neurologic harm to users and unborn children. And some of the products they tested contained as many as 24 pesticides in one product.
God damn.
But the third and most recent article they published had the headline, California recalls cannabis vape many months after it was told of contamination. And this one has the whole industry talking because now companies are being sued and some owners are claiming that they aren't even responsible for what.
Hey, all I'm gonna say, gotta start motherfucking growing your own motherfucking shit. I'm saying, start growing your own shit, man. You better fuck with C4. Fuck with C4.
In their own products. And specific brands and products are being put on blast for having like 2,000 times more pesticides than what is considered safe. The most recent article also reported on one of the only recalls to result from this investigation, which was a recall for the orange cookies flavored vape from West Coast Cure. This product had been tested and was shown to be contaminated with like 10 different pesticides and PGR chemicals, including paclobutrazol. But even after the state received these test results from this third party letting them know that products on the shelf were dirty, they didn't flag this product at all. And they took 7 months to issue a recall, which is just far too long. If you sold some vapes 7 months ago and now you're gonna put out a public recall saying, hey everyone, you know those vapes you bought 7 months ago? They're like super dangerous. Well, dog, that doesn't matter no more. Those vapes have been gone. A 1 gram vape? That doesn't last 7 months. No one holds on to that for 7 months before they open it. This recall was more of a symbolic recall than anything. They knew all of these products were gone, but they realized, oh shit, like we can't be seen knowing that these products are dirty and still selling them. But that is just one recall of—
Wait, hold on, wait, go back. My bad.
But that doesn't, everyone, 7 months ago, which is flagged as third-party paclobutrazol. But even after different which also reported on one of the only recalls to result from this investigation, which was a recall for the orange cookies flavored vape from West Coast Cure. This product had been tested and was shown to be contaminated with like 10 different pesticides and PGR chemicals, including paclobutrazol. But even after the state received these test results from this third party letting them know that products on the shelf were dirty, they didn't flag this product at all. And they took 7 months to issue a recall, which is just far too long. If you sold some vapes 7 months ago and now you're gonna put out a public recall saying, hey everyone, you know those vapes you bought 7 months ago? They're like super dangerous. Well, dog, that doesn't matter no more. Those vapes have been gone. A 1 gram vape? That doesn't last 7 months. No one holds on to that for 7 months before they open it. This recall was more of a symbolic recall than anything. They knew all of these products were gone, but they realized, oh shit, like we can't be seen knowing that these products are dirty and still selling them. But that is just one recall of one product from one brand. But the labs involved said that the results suggest some level of contamination in more than 250,000 vapes and pre-rolled joints on store shelves. And we're about to look at the best and the worst brands on the list. The investigation used blind testing from Enresco Laboratories and SC Labs, and also used Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs for some additional independent data. So this is like triple tested to be sure of the results. Products from 34 brands were tested, with most products coming from Backpack Boys and West Coast Cure, with just those two brands making up over half of the test samples. And before they could even start to test the levels of chemicals they are required to test for, they identified 7 off-list pesticides that you aren't even supposed to use on cannabis at all. And there are some very good reasons why we aren't allowed to use these chemicals on cannabis crops. And I promise I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time reading names of chemicals that most of us don't know anything about, but just let me quickly explain one of them, because this one is in California's top-selling brand.
Easy.
And the owners of the brand don't even seem to care at all. Pymetrozine is a pesticide that is only approved for very limited use by the federal EPA and is completely banned in the UK, Canada, and Norway. This is a carcinogen, it can cause reproductive issues, and it's completely illegal to use in the cannabis industry.
No, this for you.
But a peak acai vape from Steezy had more than 60 times the maximum amount of pymetrozine that is federally allowed.
It's not in cartridges, nigga. It's on the flower.
60 times more. But it gets even worse. The brand that had the absolute worst test results and the highest concentrations in their products was Backpack Boys.
Oh yeah.
Some of these Backpack Boys vapes had 24 different pesticides in one vape cart. That's insane. Some of these pesticides are prohibited in any amount, but some Backpack Boys vapes had more than 2,000 times the minimum detection level. And if you take some time to sort through all the data in these charts, you will see that all of the Backpack Boys products they tested failed in multiple tests from different labs. And most of them failed horribly with much higher levels than what is legally allowed. West Coast Cure also failed for every single one of their products that was tested. Other brands had pesticide failures too, like Flavor Aid, Fat Panda, Dime Industries, West Coast Cure, and lots of others. Some brands that actually passed with no pesticides were Raw Garden, Seed Junkie, and Alien Labs. Although these did only have one product from each brand being tested, so there was a lot less that could go wrong. And if you want to go through these charts to see all the test results, I left links to them in the description, or you can just join my mailing list where I'll be sending out a big summary of all of this info later in the week that will make it all much easier to understand. The link is in the description, so make sure you join that if you're interested. So these were legal products that came from licensed and legal stores, and they were from some of the most well-known and trusted brands in the state. And all of the products had already been tested under California's cannabis regulations, which are some of the strictest in the country, and they had all passed as clean and were determined to be safe to sell not only to recreational customers but also to sick medical patients. But it was all actually super contaminated with pesticides and was actually very dangerous. So how did this even happen? Doesn't everything have to be tested before it gets sold? Well, it does, but there are some big problems with how this testing works, and it's not just in California. I've seen this here in Colorado, and it's probably happening where you live too. But before I show you how dangerous plants can get past all the testing rules, let's look at what some of these brands had to say for themselves. And these statements we're about to look at will really show you what brands care about the customer and which ones are just trying to make a quick buck. Plus, we're going to look at a video where the Backpack Boys owner tries to deny responsibility and just gets caught in a lie. West Coast Cure said,
"We've invested millions of dollars to build our business in compliance with California's laws and regulations. We firmly advocate for the stringent testing mandated by the state to guarantee the safety and excellence of our products."
Steezy said,
"We adhere to all standards and limits set by the state of California, which has some of the strictest testing requirements and pesticide limits in the country."
So you can see they're all just sort of saying, well, since the state says it passed, we aren't technically doing anything wrong, so who cares if it's actually full of dangerous chemicals? It seems like, at least if this was my company, that you would expect a statement more like, "This is shocking news. We did not know these things were in our products. We will recall them ourselves, and not only will we find out how this happened, we will make sure this never ever happens again." But instead, companies are trying to just hide behind state testing rules, and they are denying that there is even a problem, even after these horrible ass tests. But the craziest case of this denial is coming from the same brand who had the worst test results of them all. Backpack Boys. Juan Casada, who is a former MMA fighter and owner of Backpack Boys, posted a video where he denied these carts were even real.
In regards to what they're saying about these vapes.
So, so at the end of the day, if you want to pull up on bro and talk that shit, you better be ready to fight too. You know what I'm saying? If you come in with some fighting words, you better know how to get down, because bro's in the Bellator, so just be ready for them hands.
Come on, bro. Like, they do all the testing, they in the store. You know what I mean? It's apparent as fuck that the motherfucker testing a fake vape. I mean, so that's why you're getting some of the results that you're getting, of course. If you really think that motherfuckers are sending some shit like that into the stores, into these places, like, come on, you got me fucked up. Then they do numerous tests before it even goes into the stores. So come on, bro, like 1 + 1 = 2 every time. Don't be a fool and believe this bullshit.
Hold on.
One brand who had the worst test results of this case even a problem, even after these horrible ass tests. But the craziest case of this denial is coming from the same brand who had the worst test results of them all. Backpack Boys. Juan Quesada, who is a former MMA fighter and owner of Backpack Boys, posted a video where he denied these carts were even real.
In regards to what they're saying about these vapes, come on, bro. Like, they do all the testing, they in the store. You know what I mean? It's apparent as fuck that the motherfucker testing a fake vape. You know what I mean? So that's why you're getting some of the results that you're getting, of course. If you really think that motherfuckers are sending some shit like that into the stores, into these places, like, come on, you got me fucked up. Then they do numerous tests before it even goes into the stores. So come on, bro, like 1 + 1 = 2 every time. Don't be a fool and believe this bullshit. You know what I mean? If you don't know nobody valid, then don't be buying the shit thinking that it's valid. Simple. Go to the store, get a receipt for your product, and so on and so forth. If the dude ain't valid, the cat ain't valid that you'll fuck with, or you don't think he's valid, don't buy it. Simple as that. Right or wrong?
Right.
I mean, that's how it goes, bro. Outside of that.
Hey, and sidebar. Hey, and if you finna go pull up on him, talking that shit about his product with them fighting words, you better know how to get in. As you can see, bro was in the Bellator. They didn't know how to get down if you're gonna talk that shit. Just be ready.
Shout out to everyone who fucks with us. I fuck with you 10 times harder. Shout out Berlin. Shout out everybody around this motherfucker. Don't be dumb.
So he is.
Hey, all right, but that is crazy though. That is crazy though. Only because that's like what's his nigga name? Frank White? No. What was his name? Not Frank. The motherfucker who had the Blue Magic shit, right? American Gangster. That is funny because remember, he was supplying everybody with the motherfucking work. He was supplying everybody with the work, right? And then what happened? What's the nigga name? Fuck, why am I forgetting these niggas' names? God damn. But anyway, the motherfucker started remixing his shit. Bro started remixing. Remember in the movie, he started remixing this shit, and he said, bitch ass motherfucker, if you buy my shit and my name was on the product, don't change the mother... Bitch, don't change my shit. You can call it whatever the fuck you want to call it, but bitch, that's from me. Don't change my shit. So, I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? It could be some truth to that. It could be some fucking truth to that shit. Where, I mean, nigga, you could see hella motherfucking packs outside with the motherfucking BP on there. And it might not, or with the BB, excuse me. And then it might not be that shit, right? You know what I'm saying? That might be true. It could be true. Could be true. But another thing too though, they saying they doing test scores. Like, who the fuck is bringing in y'all fake? Who's bringing in a fake weed basically to the labs to get tested? Now see, that's another part right there, because I don't see y'all bringing fake weed in to get tested. So if y'all weed is getting tested and they saying that shit got pesticides on it, then y'all shit there got pesticides on it. I don't know. You can't too much say, oh no, that's some fake ass shit. Because y'all have to bring y'all tested. So that's y'all test. And that's...
Shout out Berlin. Shout out everybody around this motherfucker. Don't be dumb.
So he is saying that Weed Week and the LA Times are testing black market carts, and that is the only reason they are dirty. But if you actually shop in the licensed stores, that is the real product, and that is always clean. But this just is not true. The guy who spearheaded this investigation with the LA Times was Alex Halperin, the editor and publisher of a great website called weedweek.com. I highly suggest you check it out for even more coverage of this story. But I reached out directly to Alex and I asked him if he could confirm where the Backpack Boys vapes that were tested in this article had actually came from. And he said, "Hi Matt, this is Alex. I personally bought several of the Backpack Boys products at a licensed Backpack Boys branded dispensary in Long Beach, and the store provided COAs from a licensed lab indicating that the products met California standards." And you can trust whoever you want, but I know who I believe. And it makes a lot of sense to just assume that the products from a legit store and a big brand are safe. But there are a few reasons why they might not be. One of the reasons was covered in this article, but from working in the cannabis industry myself, I've learned about another sneaky way that this can happen that nobody seems to be talking about. And I'm gonna show you what this secret is, but first, this article does point out a huge problem. California's pesticide list is really outdated. The state only requires testing for 66 pesticides, and this list has not been updated in 6 years. This list was made a long time ago, and since that list was made, people have started using new chemicals, and we've learned a lot more about the health risk of the chemicals we do use. But despite multiple requests to add more chemicals to the list, the state just won't update it. This is a huge mistake that means that many dangerous pesticides linked to severe health issues are not even being tested for at all. Some things that are tested for in tobacco aren't even being tested for here, and smoking tobacco is gonna kill you anyways. So in theory, these companies could use as many harmful chemicals as they wanted to, just as long as they didn't use those specific 66 chemicals on that banned list. And some of your favorite brands are using this outdated list that clearly needs to be updated to just act like, oh, it's not our fault if the state says it's safe. But there is another loophole that I see all the time working in the cannabis industry that allows plants to be sold without ever being tested at all. This loophole is something called process validation.
Ooh, that's crazy though, boy. I'm telling you. That's why I only fuck with shit that has, I know who the motherfucker is that grew it personally for real. Or, you know, somebody that I've been knowing who been fucking around. You know what I'm saying? I only get it from them. Don't horses. And if I go to a club, you know what I'm saying? If I go to a club, no, bitch, I gotta be able to touch that motherfucker and crack that bitch one time and really get my nose in there too. I'm telling you, bruh, some of this shit, man, some of this shit, boy, I done smelled some of this shit. Oh, do not smoke it. Can't smoke it. Some of this shit, goddamn menthol. That's crazy.
In simple terms, process validation is a system that cannabis companies can use to reduce how often their products need to be tested for contaminants like pesticides, heavy metals, and residual solvents. It costs money when you test your plants, and when you have to test every single batch, those costs can add up. So the state came up with something to help these companies save a little bit of money. And here's how it works. At The Grow, we start by sending in a few batches of our harvest. If these batches pass all of the required contaminant tests, then our grow can get process validation. When we have this validation, we don't have to test every single batch. We only need to test a batch every 30 days to maintain our validation status. But here's where things get sketchy. If something changes in our grow process, like switching up the nutrients or changing the equipment, or even something really simple, just as simple as a different employee handling the plants, then we're supposed to restart the entire validation process. So if we got the validation while I was in charge of the flower room, but then someone else at The Grow took over the flower room, we're technically supposed to start this whole validation process over again. This involves testing 5 new batches to make sure everything is still clean. But if these changes go unreported or unnoticed, contaminated weed could still be grown and sold without ever being tested. And you better believe that I've seen companies definitely exploit this loophole as hard as they can before, because they know that they got to do these X amount of tests to get validation, so they'll be really, really careful to up until they get validation. do everything so by the book for those first 5 batches. But then as soon as they get that process validation, they're like, all right, anything goes. Put anything on it you want because nothing has to get tested for a month. So that means if people want to cut corners and use some pesticides that aren't approved, they might. They're like, you know what? These spider mites are really, really bad right now and I can't get rid of them with nothing, and I'm not supposed to use this chemical, but I know they're not going to test any of my plants for, you know, all month long, so maybe I'll just spray some of this really nasty shit on my plants to kill spider mites. And then no one's ever even going to know because those plants aren't ever even going to get tested. And when it's time to get your next validation, you just make sure you don't use it on that crop, and you see how this can be a problem real fast. This investigation has exposed some huge problems within the legal cannabis industry, and it's clear that we desperately need improvements in many areas because it's just not acceptable at all to sell products that are contaminated with dangerous chemicals. Half the people we sell to are medical patients. This is just one of the many reasons why I have videos on my channel that teach you how to grow your own cannabis at home so that you know exactly what's going into your plants. But even if you're growing your own plants at home, there are ways that dangerous chemicals can sneak into your plants without you even knowing it. In this video, I'll show you how some shady brands were secretly sneaking dangerous chemicals into home gardens all around the world without anyone ever knowing. This stuff could be in your stash right now, so watch this video.
Damn. God damn. Doing that bad shit in there, huh? Yikes. Say damn, nature. Scary. Alright. Well, that's all I want to do with y'all. I just wanted to watch that little